Hello everyone, I'm Adam, or Whitesnake on Discord and Reddit. Quick introduction. I'm from the UK, as you can tell by my amazing accent. I apologise for that. Not for the accent, for being from the UK, because, everybody loves us at the moment. I apologise, especially to our European friends. This is Ruined Horizon. Quick overview. It's me that's been building this game for about a year, just in my spare time, evenings and weekends, that sort of thing. It's a single player, sort of mission based tactical space game where you have to control a small squad of ships through various missions. You can outfit the ships, you can change how they're built and subsystems and stuff. You can decide which ships you're going to take on the missions. Missions do have ship limits, so how many ships you can take on a particular mission, etc. Other than that, what I'll try and do is I'll just try and go over some of the major features, or I'll try and get through as many of the little features that we've got. There'll be a bunch that I forget, but I'll come back to them at some point in time. But I'll try and get through all the major ones that we've got now. So, first of all, we have our shiny intro, or title screen, should I say. Nothing too spectacular. I just wanted to do, one day I got bored and I just wanted to make something that looked nice, so I just made this. We've got these. The only ones of these that work are quit and new game. Actually, load game works, but it doesn't. The load save system is very flaky at the minute, so it'll probably crash if I try and load it. Settings doesn't do anything because I haven't built a settings page yet. So we will go and smash new game. This is something that I've put in recently. The ability to select a profile picture. Some of them are duplicated because I just copied a bunch of files in from somewhere. The ability to set your name, Dave Smith, for example, and your career background, and most of these things in here are just placeholder text. I haven't really thought about the bonuses and things that I want to give people, but essentially you will kind of choose how you're going to play the game a little bit. So, for example, the engineer might have stronger ships and better armour and things like that, and the scientist's better at scanning things and doing stuff with laser weapons and stuff like that. This is all up in the air, but it's just a placeholder at the minute. It doesn't actually affect the game at the moment. It's just for show a little bit, really. And then we can start the game. Now, it takes you straight into here. We've got the mission briefing for the current mission that we're at. I've just set this to a mission where you have to just battle a bunch of people. So this is the main screen that we have here. So we've got the mission, so you click this is this page here. You've got ships, these are all the available ships. Obviously when you first start the game there'll just probably be one ship in there, which is your ship that you start off with, and then through gameplay on building and finding and recruiting and stuff like that, you'll be able to get more ships. But for now, I've just put a bunch of different ships in there, and I usually build these ships just when I'm testing something, so each one of these ships was built to test something. Officers doesn't do anything yet. In an older version of the UI, it listed all of the officers that are attached to the ships. They are actually attached to the ships and are giving bonuses, you just can't see them. And storage, again, doesn't do anything at the moment, but it is essentially just going to be a list of all of the items that you have found or have built. I'll probably have I'm thinking I might have another one here, which is like, there's going to be a research section, and like sections for like leveling up your ships and things like that. I haven't built any of that yet. This is, like I say, there was an older version of the UI that had all this stuff in it, but I started rebuilding it, but then I don't really like this UI either, so I'm hoping we can build a nice shiny new UI that's a lot better. But for now, we've got our missions and ships, so I'll just go to ships for now, and I'll just select one of them here. And when you click on a ship on here, this allows you to see the outfitting screen. So you get a preview of the ship here. You can give it a little twirl about. Press this little info button here. It'll tell you some basic information like how much reactor output, battery capacity, how much sensor range, and how fast it is. And then a little the little question mark gives you like the just a little bit of blurb about that ship. Again, this is mostly just placeholder stuff. So we've got that, and then you'll notice down here we have subsystems. So all ships have these core subsystems here. So they all have generators, they all have batteries, they all have sensors, they all have thrusters, and they all have a jump drive, FTL drives. And this subsystem class here tells you what class, or think of it as size, subsystems you need to be fitted into here. So this being a small frigate uses class 1 subsystems, whereas a bigger ship like this uses class 3 subsystems. So you can put smaller subsystems in, so like I can put a class 1 or a class 2 or a class 3 into here. It won't be as effective, but you can't put bigger subsystems into a smaller class. So I can't put class 3 subsystems in here. And then you've got each ships have optional subsystems, different amounts. So for example, this small ship here only has one optional subsystem, which is an afterburner. I've put in this one, and that ship has 2, that ship has 4, that has 5. 5's the maximum at the moment, but that's simply because there isn't enough space on the UI to properly put it all in, and that's hopefully something we can address with a better UI. So let's pick a nice small ship for now. Not that one. Not that one. This one. Okay, this is generally, this might be the ship you start the game with. I haven't decided yet. So this is essentially a frigate, and you'll notice that the icon here, these also show in the game, so you know what sort of ships are on the radars. So this symbol is a frigate symbol. That's a battleship. I think that's a carrier. That's a cruiser, I think, and that's a corvette. I think the little one at the bottom. Okay, so you'll notice you've got your ship name and your ship class, and then you've got the armour. So as I've mentioned in the chat, armour for ships is directional, so you've got armour on the left, armour on the top, armour on the bottom, front and back, etc. And it tells you here what all the different armours levels are for those sectors. So for example, if you get a ship that's got lots of armours on the sides, that might be a ship that's good for like doing broadsides of enemy ships. So positioning your ship in the game is going to be important, because like for example, this has weak armour on the front, so you generally don't want to point it directly into incoming fighter. You might want to angle it a little bit so that you're taking some damage or taking hits on the sides that have got stronger armour. So that's the armour. It doesn't tell you here, but hopefully in the new UI it will. Armour has resistances, so there's different types of damage that it's more resistant against, and I'll go through that later when I start talking about weapons. So there's that, and then your hard points, which are your weapons, are listed here. So you can already see we've got some turrets on the top of this ship here. So we've got 1 there, 2, 3, and I think there's 2. So yeah, so that's a turret there that's sort of facing downwards at the minute, and that one there. And if you hover over the icons here for the hard points, if I can find one, it shows you the firing arcs. They're a bit small on this, I need to increase it, but it shows you the firing arcs of the turret, so you know where it's gonna be able to shoot. So if I go to one of the ones at the front here, like that, so you can see it can point all the way back that way fairly can point forwards quite a bit and up a little bit, which wasn't it, that one, and it can sort of elevate itself up to almost horizontal. So it's good for if you park your ship above another enemy vessel, you can shoot down at it, or these will rotate enough to shoot forwards as well. So that's that. So those are the weapons. You'll notice that the hardpoints have a class as well. So different weapons have different sizes. So class 1 weapons are small weapons, class 2 weapons are bigger weapons, and obviously if we find a ship that's got like class 3 weapons, these are like super massive big weapons, or can support super massive big weapons. You can also put small weapons in there if you want. So let's just go back to this. So yeah, so looking at subsystems back again, you can change what subsystems are installed. So obviously at the beginning of the game, you're not going to have much in the way of storage, but if you click on the subsystem, it takes you here, and then you get a list of shows you what you've currently got installed. So this is currently a battleship reactor. I know it's a very imaginative name, but not everything's named properly yet. You get a bit of a description, you get its icon here, you get the uninstall button, which actually is a bug and shouldn't show on here because you can't uninstall core subsystems, you can only replace them with something else. And then you get a few stats down here on underneath that. So like how much power it generates and how much it modifies your power signature. And the power signature is to do with how detectable you are and things in the game. You also have this little chart at the bottom that shows you how much capacity you have for installing new modules. So again, these are not balanced and they kind of have random numbers in them. But the capacity on this is 58 of 80, for example, which means if you notice here, there isn't any headings. I need to sort this out, but the 16 there is, I think, how many are in stock. I've just put a bunch in stock, so we've got them. The size, how many support points it takes, so that takes 3 support points. So that will affect this number here. What type it is, and the name. So that's like what slot it uses. It uses the reactor slot, and that's just the name of it, so that's an auxiliary reactor. So we could put a really tiny reactor in here if we wanted, but now our power generation has gone down to 25. But also our power signature modifier has gone from 50 to 5. So, and you'll notice that I don't know what I was going to say then. I was going to say something interesting probably, but I don't know what it was. What should have happened, and this is probably a bug, is the old reactor should have come into this list so that we could use it. It might be in there when we go back. No, that's a bug. But essentially, you can see we've gone down by 1 because we've used 1. Okay, so let's go back. Same with the batteries and things like that, and sensors, different sensors and things like that. You also get different stats here, so like this power drain when active, how much it modifies your signature, what sort of sensor range that gives you, etc. Subsystems are pretty much the same, apart from they use optional slot things. So we've got a bunch of different things here, like shield capacitors, small batteries, afterburners, ECM generators, things like that. You can uninstall things from these slots, because these are optional slots. You don't have to have anything in these. But it's always good to try and fill your slots out with something. So we could put an auxiliary reactor in, for example, in that slot, and we could put an afterburner in that slot, and the ECM generator in that slot, and I don't know, a shield generator in that slot. And it's exactly the same for weapons. If you click on a weapon, it shows you all the available weapons that will go into that slot. So this is how many you've got, that's the name of the weapon, its class size, how many support points it takes, its type of damage. So we've got a few different types here, like explosive, kinetic, EMP. There's also plasma and laser. That's how much damage each salvo does. So that missile does 1,000 damage. For example, that missile does 3,000 damage. And you'll notice that obviously the ones that are more damaging will obviously have a higher support cost. And then on the left here, you can see how many support costs it takes, how much damage it does, and how many salvos are in each shot. So for example, that means that the autocannon will fire 5 shots of 15 damage. The rate of fire, so that'll do that over 3 seconds, which equates to 25 DPS. It does kinetic type damage, it costs 5 energy to activate it, and it has 5,000 rounds of ammunition. So let's go to a class 2. So you'll notice in class, if we click on a class 2 hardpoint, we can actually also install class 1 weapons, because it's big enough to support them. You don't have to only put class 2 in. And you'll notice that we've got a laser here, for example. That's got a range of 400 kilometers. Pulse lasers are actually quite powerful. I should probably pick a different one, but oh, I don't have another one. Okay. So where were we? Yeah, I might install that. So we've got a pulse laser there, and it shows here. So what I might do is I might put a pulse laser on that as well, and I might change that for a that's a not got the description in, but that's a railgun type weapon. And what can we put on the top here? Let's put some missiles on the top of this, and we'll put an interceptor missile on. Okay, so essentially this is how you currently would build your ships. There would also be a section where you could assign your crew as well, but like I say, I haven't built the UI for that. It's in an older version, but not in this version. So that's pretty much it from this point of view, and then we can go to the mission. We can assemble our fleet, and then we can choose which ships we want on the mission. You can see this mission will allow us to take up to 4 ships. I'm going to take, in fact I'm going to take 4. I'm going to take those 4, and I'm going to launch the mission. Okay, I'll just pause the game. So they've jumped in. I haven't spread them out very well. I need to move the spawn points a bit. But from this screen you can see these are the 4 ships I picked with the loadouts that I picked. These red symbols are enemies, which I can detect on my radars. They just happen to be there because I put them there so I can blow them up. These are asteroids, which are just there to make things look pretty. You have the star in the background. Okay, and then down here are the ships that you have brought with you, and these are some ships have like firecraft aboard them. So this shows you that these have got 2 fighters each, and we'll launch them actually in a minute, and we'll have a look at those as well. So first thing to do is I'm just going to pause it, and I'm just going to set some weapons to attack stuff over here. But let me just quickly show you the weapons first. There's this one.
Standing by.
Okay, so up here, and this image is wrong, but don't worry about that. This shows you your armor status for your ship. So you can see all of the different, it's quite hard to see maybe on a video, but you can see all of the different, they're all at 100% at the minute, but you can see all the different angles, all the different sides, all the different weapon, all the different levels of armor. You've got, here we've got your hard points. So these are the different weapons that we've put, and the bar fills up as it's recharging. So obviously a bar, when it's being fired, it has to cool down, and it builds up to ready to be fired again. The green bar underneath shows how much ammo is remaining. These don't have ammo because these are laser weapons. These have infinite ammo. So if we hover over this, you can see, for example, this is an interceptor missile. We have 64 of them, and it's got a max range of 200 kilometers. That's a Pegasus missile, the range of 400 kilometers. And we've got 32 of them, and then this is the railgun I was talking about, which has a range of 250. 250, and we've got 200 rounds of that, and they do 500 damage. So that's those. The subsystems underneath, these are the subsystems that you had on your when you built the ship. If they are red, it means they're offline, and that's either through damage or you've just switched them off because you don't want to use the energy. And the percentage just shows how much damage they've taken. And then underneath here, with the translations that aren't working, these are the various functions that the ship has. This is a bit of a test ship, so it has like lots of different things. So it has scanning, hacking, minesweeping, and repairing. But you wouldn't generally get all of those on one ship. Okay. So yeah, let's move out. If we press M, you will see you get this little plane here. These are the scale's gone wrong on here for some reason, but I'll fix that. And this sort of shows you the ground plane where this ship is, and the little green arrow, that little green line shows you where it will go when you tell it where to go. If you press Shift, you can actually go up and down as well. And if you'll notice, the other ships that I haven't got selected have got these little yellow symbols that just show you in relation to your ground plane where these ships are. So, you know, like for example, see if we can...
Order acknowledged.
If we look up here, you see there's an asteroid up there. If we click move, you can see how far above the plane it is. Up there. And that just gives you a little bit of ideas for how to move. So we're currently paused. You can issue commands while paused, and then if we unpause, there's no collision between ships yet. I'll have to fix that. Then the ship will go. So now these are going to fire on us. These enemy ships here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move.
Order acknowledged.
I'm going to move him over there. And this is a
launching countermeasures.
Oops. So I'll just pause that. So this is a missile ship that I've created. It's just full of missiles. You'll notice one thing I didn't tell you is you can set weapons to either be manual fire, so that's manual fire as they are now, or auto fire. If they're auto fire, it means that as soon as it's ready, if it has a target, it will fire on it. Now you'll see the first thing this has done is it's launched an interceptor missile, because this thing's launched a torpedo probably at this ship down here. And so this interceptor missile is going to attempt to intercept and destroy that torpedo. This does need a tweak, because I don't think interceptor missiles necessarily should attempt to shoot down torpedoes, because torpedoes, at least in this version of the game, are pretty fast. And so it's likely that this is just not going to hit it. But we'll see what happens. And then the only other thing to mention here is if you tick this little box here, again the UI's gone a bit screwy, but if you tick this little box here, this means that all the turrets will automatically find their own targets and attack anything they see, which means you don't have to specifically tell it to attack a single target. It will just attack any target that it can detect. So this is depends how you want to play the game. For like kinetic weapons, you probably just want to switch them onto auto target, because then if you're not bothered about what you're shooting, like if you just want to kill everything, you can switch that on. For things that have got limited ammunition, you might want to control things manually, so you can still switch that to auto target mode, but switch off turrets that you don't want to be included in that, so they won't fire these, for example, because they're no longer set to auto fire. So that's just a way you can save a little bit of ammunition. For now, I'm just going to switch them on, and I'm going to unpause the game, and we'll see if this interceptor missile actually hits. And you might also notice that it's
Ready.
Is it going for that ship? I'm not sure. That some of the ships might have.
Standing by.
This one doesn't. I'll just switch that to auto target. Might have defensive point defense. Oh yeah, it got it. There we go. Look, so that's pretty cool.
What's the
So
mission?
we're going to move them up there,
Destination set.
and it's launching another countermeasure. It's going to get it. Can you see how it predicts the path? Oh, it missed it. Oh, lucky. So missiles and, in fact,
Launching countermeasure.
most of the weapons in the game will predict where
We're under attack.
things are going to be, so that they can intercept them. So what we're going to do now is we're going to lap this ship up
Missiles
here.
away.
So we've got a locked target, so all these missiles are now going to fly at this. I'm just going to scan that target right quick. And you might be able to hear the point defense of those ships trying to shoot those down. So one thing to point out is these ships are ridiculously over armoured. I've given them far too much armour and stuff, but that's just because I need to test throwing lots of weaponry at ships without them blowing up. So you will see have we done some damage to that one? Yes, we've hit the back of it, and we've got the rear armour down to 6%, and we've also, some of the damage has leaked through to the hull. So once the hull's gone, the ship's gone. You also notice that we've got subsystems down here. So these are the subsystems that are installed on the enemy ships. You can target those if you right click on them. Puts a little line through it to let you know what you've targeted, and your weapons will attack that subsystem. And subsystems do exist as like physical items within each ship. So and they're modelled, so when a bullet hits it or a missile hits it or something like that, that damage is determined which subsystems it's hit by, whereabouts it on the ship it hits. So I'll just unpause this. So that's my point defense on this ship attempting to shoot down these torpedoes. But it's not going to have much of a chance because torpedoes are far too fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly turn off... Which one is it? I need better icons. I'm going to turn off the interceptor missiles until we need them. So now you'll see these ships are closing in and they're starting to attack that up there. Okay, this will be quite hard to see on the video I think, but you'll notice that some of these subsystems are flashing. If they go red, they're offline because they're being damaged or switched off. If they flash yellow, it means they've taken damage. If they flash grey, it means that they've been stunned. So EMP missiles and things like that can stun subsystems. They'll go offline for 30 seconds or something and then come back online. So there's that. So let's just let these fly again. So we've got, now this is launching some big harpoon missiles, so I'm gonna let it fire some more interceptor missiles to try and destroy those, because those are very dangerous. They're also very slow, so it's quite useful. Quite easy to shoot them down. There we go.
We're under attack.
Okay. So that's that. So now the next thing I'm going to show you is I've scanned this ship over here, I think. Yes. If I press tab, you'll see we get this mass of stuff up on the screen, and that is the power signatures of the ships. So like how visible they are to sensors. And if I zoom out, which I can't do when it's paused because there's a bug. Let me see if I can pause it now. It's a bit messy here because everything's very close and difficult to see. But the green is my sensor ranges, and the blue is the enemy sensor ranges. So all the green things are my ship's sensor ranges, so what we can see, and the blue is the enemy sensor ranges. So I can switch them on and off. So the idea is once you've scanned a ship, you can see its sensor range and its power signature, and there are missions in the game where you need to sneak through certain areas without straying into their sensor range. And obviously the higher your power signature is, the actual easier it is for them to detect you as well. So if you're zoom back in again, if your if your power signature bubble touches their sensor range bubble, then it will detect you. You will have been detected. So there's that. What else have we got? Oh, we've got some
Reporting.
fighters, haven't we? So let's turn the sensor ranges off and start the game again. And what we'll do is we'll just launch some fighters. You can press this to launch them all, and you'll see they'll launch out from here. Just pause it again. Or you can just click them individually and they'll launch one at a time. And then once they've been launched, you can control them by if we select the mothership, lock a target, we can press this button there, this little icon here, and that means attack my target. And you'll watch these will fly off now, and we'll attack this target here.
We're under attack.
So they will fly around and they will attack that target. Now there's only 2 of them and they're not very powerful. Obviously dedicated carrier ships will do a lot more damage. Another thing to note as well is missiles and other weapons, but missiles mainly do splash damage. So, and the damage radius is roughly equal to the what you can see the diameter of this effect. So essentially, if you've got lots of fighter craft around a target and you're also lobbing missiles at it, you're very likely to blow your own strike craft up. So you've got to be careful with what you do. So that's strike craft. And we'll just quickly blow this up, and then we'll move on to something else, I think. A bunch of missiles coming in soon, I'm sure.
Standing by.
Yep, they're all gonna come out in a second. I also put a if you click
Ready.
the
Standing by.
the strike craft down here, you can select them. Let's see if we've got a bit of blood up.
Target destroyed.
Yeah, as you can see, we actually managed to destroy one of our strike craft by the splash damage. What we're going to do is we're going to see if we can attack that. And I actually did, because I got bored one day, I put like a first-person camera in, so you could see what the fighter craft can see. But it's not very optimized. I think the camera's attached to the turret, so it sort of flies about all over the place. and the code for determining when to shoot is obviously not working 100% because it doesn't always shoot. But yeah, so that is pretty much. There's probably a bunch of other features that I've missed. I mean, one of the things I was going to talk about was the missiles as well. You can see the missiles track like the weapons as well. They aim where you're going to be, not where you are. All ships have an evasion rating, and weapons have an inaccuracy rating, or a kind of like an accuracy rating, should I say. So not every shot that this ship fires, for example, is gonna. Let's just go back to that. Is gonna fly exactly on target. It's shooting at this, I think, at the minute. You see that one?
Affirmative.
That one hit. But some of them, because this ship is a small ship, it has quite a high evasion rating. You see that one missed. And did I put an ECM generator on this?
Standing by. Reporting.
Is it this ship?
Yes. Affirmative.
Is it this one? If I lock that target and I turn on the ECM generator, essentially what that does now is that sort of scrambles its turrets a little bit. So you'll see that its shots should be way off now.
Yes.
Because I've over exaggerated the effect for testing. So you can see it's way off now. Because its sensors are being scrambled. So, yeah, that is the sort of gameplay on this side of things pretty much all done. I'll probably do another video probably tomorrow now because it's midnight here and I have things to do on like the how it's all built in the Unity side of things, so like how we add new weapons, how we add new ships, things like that. Yeah, hopefully going forward we can come up with some ideas about what we want to do. The way that the game is now, this is just the sort of things that I could do as a solo dev on my own. There is actually loads of things that I think we might be able to do when we've got more people working on it. There was talk of, we were talking about today, maybe making it more open world instead of mission based, which I think is a really good idea, and it's something I had dabbled with before. There's an older version which I'll pull a video out for you at some point in time that shows like an old galactic map where you can move around and things. But yeah, other than that, I've waffled on for nearly 40 minutes now and I'll probably put you all to sleep. So yeah, I will hopefully you'll find this informative, and any questions let me know, and then I'll get another video out in probably tomorrow that explains like how some of the back end stuff works, and hopefully where we can go from there. So thank you for putting up with me for 40 minutes, and I'll speak to you guys later.